2020年度第2回実用英語技能検定1級リスニングテスト。
The listening test for the Grade 1 examination is about to begin. Listen carefully to the directions. You will not be permitted to ask questions during the test. This test has 4 parts. All of the questions in these 4 parts are multiple choice questions. For each question, choose the best answer from among the 4 choices written in your test booklet. On your answer sheet, find the number of the question and mark your answer. You are permitted to take notes for every part of this listening test. Now, here are the directions for Part 1. In this part, you will hear 10 dialogues, number 1 through number 10. Each dialogue will be followed by 1 question. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The dialogue and the question will be given only once.
Now we will begin the Grade 1 listening test. Number 1.
Julia, we're considering you for the regional sales director position. You'd still work here at the head office, but it'd mean having to travel more.
That might be a problem. My kids are still young, and you know that I'm a single mother, so I can't be gone too much.
Right. We realize that, but there may be a way to cut down on the trips. We've been trying out video conferencing, and so far, so good.
Then I'd certainly be interested.
Question. How does the man suggest solving the problem?
Number 2.
Gary, it's me. I'm afraid I have to work late again.
Again? That's the 3rd time this week. When do you think you'll get home?
Probably around 9. Listen, Clive's baseball practice ends at 8:30. Can you pick him up?
Well, I'm supposed to be giving your mom a ride to the airport.
I forgot. Well, I guess he'll just have to wait for a bit until I get there.
He'll understand, and I'll pick up some dinner for us on my way back.
Question. What will the woman do?
Number 3.
Hey, Steve, wasn't that board meeting really frustrating?
Yes, Margaret dominated again. Her constant sniping at others and negativity about fresh ideas is hampering the organization.
Should we try talking to her?
You think she'll listen? We only joined the board a few months ago.
True, but we can't just sit back and do nothing. Let's sound out the president and see if he can encourage her to step down.
That's a bit drastic. We should rally the other board members around us first.
You're right. Then maybe we can push for her resignation.
Question. What do these 2 colleagues decide to do?
Number 4.
Did you hear that Jason Lind is going to direct a new cable TV series?
Isn't he a movie director?
Yes, and a very good one, too.
I wonder why he decided to go into TV.
A lot of film actors have been successful in hit TV shows recently. I suppose it was just a matter of time before directors tried to make the same shift.
Well, if his TV debut is anything like his movies, it'll be fantastic.
Question. What do we learn about Jason Lind? Number 5.
Look at this TV ad, George. That vegetable cutter can cut, slice, and dice just about anything.
If it really worked, it would be selling well in regular stores.
Why are you always such a cynic?
My father bought something like that once, but he could never get it to work.
That was years ago. Things are more advanced now.
Only the promotion methods. But if you really want it, get it.
No, because if it breaks, I'll never hear the end of it.
Question. What do we learn from this conversation?
Number 6.
See you later, Kay. I'm off to the gym.
Since when did you become Mr. Fitness?
I got this great deal at the new gym in the mall, a 1-year membership for only $300.
And you really think that's a good deal?
Well, yeah. All the equipment is state-of-the-art, and they have 4 jacuzzis.
You know the place across the street from my office, with the Olympic-sized swimming pool? I got 2 years there for that price.
Great. Now you tell me.
Question. What does the woman imply?
Number 7.
Hey, Annie. Long time no see. How's art school going?
Pretty well, Mark. I switched my major from fine art to design, and I just got accepted as an intern at a furniture company.
Great. But I thought your real love was sculpture.
It is, but I had to face reality. I can make a much better living following this career path.
Do you think it'll satisfy you enough to do it long term?
I guess I'll see how the internship goes.
Question. Why did Annie decide to change her major?
Number 8.
I'm finished studying. Let's grab lunch.
But I still have to finish my psychology paper.
Come on, take a break. We've been at it all morning.
It'll only take me another hour or so. I have to get it done today.
That's what happens when you put it off until the last minute.
I know. Will I see you later?
Yeah, as long as you're still planning to go to Jim's party tonight.
Wouldn't miss it.
Question. What does the man imply?
Number 9.
Lucas, don't forget Judy's expecting an answer to whether we're going to her daughter's dance recital.
I just can't see why we have to drive 2 hours each way to spend an entire Saturday doing that. We were at her son's birthday party just a couple of weeks ago.
I'm with you, but that's just the way she is. You know she's really big on family and loves having us visit.
Well, we have to let her know somehow that we can't just drop everything whenever a nephew or niece has a birthday or soccer game.
She only does it because she wants to include us in things.
I know, and I appreciate that. She's the best sister-in-law you could ask for. But we've got to draw the line somewhere.
Fair enough. We just have to figure out how to wriggle out of this. Maybe I could remind her about my migraines and tell her they're forcing us to limit our trips.
Now that's an idea. It's not an outright lie either, although they haven't been that bad recently.
Well, I'll send her an email and let her know. But she won't be happy about it.
Question. What is the man's opinion?
Number 10.
Well, guys, we need to discuss how to shut down our Hong Kong office next year with minimal impact.
That's going to be tough. Word has already leaked out, and employees there are beginning to panic.
That's the last thing we need. Morale will plummet.
Well, the Japanese staff will be transferred to other offices, most to locations in Japan. But it's the local Hong Kong staff I'm worried about.
Agreed. If we just lay them off, our reputation could be irreparably damaged.
Well, we can transfer a handful of them to our Shenzhen office. For those who aren't willing to go or have ties in Hong Kong, we need to compensate them if they leave the firm. That'll help us maintain our reputation as a fair employer.
We also have to meet with our local legal counsel to review any remaining contractual obligations to clients.
I don't foresee that as being a major concern, as our office in Shenzhen can handle clients in Hong Kong.
It seems we agree company standing is our primary concern. Would the two of you draft a formal letter to announce our plans?
No problem. We'll include something about management meeting with each one of them to discuss their options.
Great. Let's get ahead of this problem before it explodes in our faces.
Question. What do the speakers conclude is the main issue?
Here are the directions for Part 2. In this part, you will hear 5 passages, A through E. Each passage will be followed by 2 questions, number 11 through number 20. For each question, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The passage and the questions will be given only once. Now, let's begin.
A. Youth Apprenticeship Programs. CareerWise is a large-scale youth apprenticeship program in the U.S. that allows high school students to learn a skill by working at a company. CareerWise is modeled after programs in Switzerland, where over 2/3 of students do apprenticeships. Thanks to such apprenticeships, Switzerland has extremely low student debt and high employment rates, whereas the U.S. has over $1 trillion in student debt and large numbers of unemployed college graduates. CareerWise aims to prepare participants for a profession while challenging the assumption that earning a college degree is the only path to a successful career. Critics say many apprenticeship programs direct low-income students into blue-collar jobs. They also question whether the specialized skills students learn will be applicable across jobs or industries. But supporters insist they are highly transferable. What is more, CareerWise offers participants a broad range of industries to choose from, including healthcare and IT. Upon completion of the program, CareerWise apprentices receive their high school diploma plus college credit and thousands of dollars in wages. They can choose to go on to college, continue at their current job, or seek other employment. Meanwhile, employers benefit by developing a skilled workforce while reducing labor costs.
Questions. Number 11. What do we learn about Switzerland's apprenticeship programs? Number 12. What is one criticism of apprenticeship programs?
B. Bioplastics. Conventional plastics are made from petroleum, a non-renewable resource. They are also hard to dispose of, as petroleum-based products do not break down easily. To address this, some environmentalists are promoting plastics that are mostly made using plant materials. Known as bioplastics, these require fewer fossil fuel resources to produce. For proponents, the ability of bioplastics to break down into natural, mostly harmless materials is considered their biggest selling point. Their biodegradability, however, often depends on high-temperature processes at specialized factories, which most places do not have. Consequently, after they can no longer be used, bioplastics are often buried in landfills, where they may release methane, a greenhouse gas that damages the ozone layer. Also, if bioplastics get mixed in with ordinary plastics during the recycling process, they can damage the recycling infrastructure and ruin entire batches of recycled plastic. Bioplastics require a separate recycling system in order to be reused, which is expensive and inconvenient. Another drawback is that chemical fertilizers and pesticides would be required to cultivate enough plants to make the bioplastics industry globally viable. Therefore, many people want to increase the recycling of regular plastics rather than expanding the use of bioplastics.
Questions. Number 13. What is one advantage of bioplastics? Number 14. What is one problem with used bioplastics?
C. Ray Montague. Ray Montague, an African-American engineer, started working for the U.S. Navy in 1956 as a digital computer systems operator and later advanced to the position of computer systems analyst. One day, her boss, who Montague said held discriminatory attitudes toward black people, attempted to set her up for failure. He told her to create a computer program that could design ships, but he only gave her a 6-month deadline and neglected to mention that his department had been struggling with the same task for 6 years. Montague was determined to succeed and even worked alone at night until her boss finally granted her staff support. Montague met the deadline, creating the first ever computer-generated ship designs. U.S. President Richard Nixon, who wanted to produce warships at a more rapid pace, was highly impressed. Montague was then commissioned to design an actual ship. She completed the design in less than 19 hours, and soon all naval ships and submarines came to be drawn up in this manner. Thanks to her remarkable achievements, she received numerous awards and became the U.S. Navy's first female program manager of ships.
Questions. Number 15. What did Ray Montague's boss likely assume about her? Number 16. What is Montague remembered for?
D. Salps and the environment. Salps are small, transparent marine organisms that resemble jellyfish. Their unique life cycle and ability to change sex make them fascinating creatures. In their initial stage as females, they go through a reproductive process called budding, during which they produce exact copies of themselves without mating. These tiny clones are linked together in a chain, with each female clone containing a single egg. Later, when the chains have matured, they break apart. Meanwhile, the original female salp becomes male and fertilizes nearby eggs. The resulting female embryos eventually swim out and create their own chain of clones. Salps have been drawing the attention of scientists because of their potential to help fight climate change. Algae, which make up a significant portion of salp's diet, must absorb CO2 in order to grow. Salp's consumption of algae means they also take in the associated carbon. This is then turned into a waste product that sinks to the bottom of the ocean floor, effectively preventing the carbon from returning to the atmosphere. Scientists hope it will one day be possible to utilize salp's enormous appetite to help manage atmospheric CO2 levels.
Questions. Number 17. What is one thing the speaker says about salps? Number 18. How might salps help fight climate change? E. Ancient Egyptian mummies. In 2011, researcher Roger Montgomery published some surprising findings regarding ancient Egyptian mummies. Montgomery examined the lungs of 15 preserved bodies and found that the mummies' lungs all contained tiny particles known as microscopic particulates. Today, microscopic particulates are associated with various diseases, including lung cancer and pneumonia, and are thought to result from the burning of fossil fuels by modern industry. Montgomery's research, however, showed that the particulate levels in the mummies were nearly as high as those found in modern humans, indicating that some forms of pollution also affected people in ancient times. The mummies examined by Montgomery came from all walks of life and included labourers, priests, and upper-class city dwellers. In spite of the fact that these people came from different social and geographic backgrounds, their lungs all contained similar levels of particulates. Montgomery therefore speculated that the particulates probably produced by metalworking, mining, or even fires for cooking could have been spread throughout the population by sandstorms, which are common to the region. The research suggests that the majority of ancient Egyptians suffered from the ill effects of having microscopic particulates in their lungs.
Questions. Number 19. What was surprising about the Egyptian mummies? Number 20. What does the research indicate about microscopic particulates?
Here are the directions for Part 3. In this part, you will hear 5 passages, F through J. The passages represent real-life situations and may contain sound effects. Each passage will have one question, number 21 through number 25. Before each passage, you will have 10 seconds to read the situation and question written in your test booklet. After you hear the passage, you will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The passage will be given only once. Now, let's begin.
F. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 21.
You've asked about health care coverage during your stay. In the past, those enrolled full-time in university courses on a student visa were covered free of charge. However, new rules require the payment of a health care surcharge of $150 per year. This needs to be made when you apply for your student visa, and you must pay in advance for the total number of years you'll study here, not a year at a time. Once approved, you'll receive the same healthcare services as citizens and permanent residents do. Alternatively, some students opt for travel health insurance instead, which can offer certain benefits for private medical services that are not covered by the national healthcare system. However, the travel health insurance costs substantially more than the surcharge, especially if you'll be studying here for more than 1 year.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
G. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 22.
There are a couple of things to consider when choosing a mortgage. First, the term of the loan. You're quite young, so a 30-year loan would be reasonable. Of course, a 20-year loan would cost less overall. But if you currently have other debts, I'd recommend going with the lower monthly payments of the longer-term loan. Then you need to decide if you want your interest payments to be at a fixed or adjustable rate. With an adjustable rate, you'll pay less interest to start with, but it'll probably go up considerably after a few years. The fixed rate of interest is currently a little higher than the adjustable rate, but it won't change. Since you tend to get anxious about money, I think you'd be better off without the uncertainty of any changes.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
H. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 23.
First on the agenda, we have our new line of organic power protein bars coming out this fall. We need everyone on board to promote these new products. Obviously, the digital marketing team is responsible for building awareness and product promotion through paid media and social media channels. We're going to offer a 20% online discount and free shipping for customers who purchase the new products through our website. So you guys need to integrate that into the digital campaign. The customer marketing team will focus externally. We need exposure. We're making sample-sized products to give away in stores and at events over the next few months. As you know, the City Marathon is coming up in August, so you'll need to ask around for volunteers to pass out samples during the race. You'll also need to identify further opportunities and locations, but that can be done once the marathon promotion is set.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
I. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 24.
Our smallest truck is 3 meters. Generally speaking, this is best for a studio or small one-bedroom apartment with minimal furniture. The charge for this would be $545. Our medium-sized truck is 4.5 meters. It's best for 2-bedroom apartments or small homes with up to 100 square meters of living space. It's just $150 more than the smallest truck at $695. Our 6-meter truck is big enough for 3-bedroom apartments and costs $895 per day. Currently, our largest truck happens to be on special at $995. At 7 meters long, it moves a 200 square meter property. Finally, if you'd prefer, we could offer a couple of professional movers for an extra $200. These guys are great at maximizing truck space and can squeeze in some extra items.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
J. You have 10 seconds to read the situation and question number 25.
As you know, when you leave the country, you're entitled to claim back some of your compulsory pension payments. The refund process depends on how much is in your pension account. If it is less than $5,000, you can fill out the online form, and all the money you've paid will be transferred to your bank account within 2 weeks. If you've paid more, you'll need to download and print out the Certification of Immigration Status form and submit it by mail. To complete that form, you'll need your tax file number, your passport with your visa, and your bank account details. You should apply before you leave, as it can be difficult to certify the necessary documents once you're out of the country. Finally, bear in mind you won't receive any payments while your visa is still valid.
Now mark your answer on your answer sheet.
Finally, here are the directions for Part 4. In this part, you will hear an interview. The interview will be followed by 2 questions, number 26 and number 27. For each question, You will have 10 seconds to choose the best answer and mark your answer on your answer sheet. The interview and the questions will be given only once.
This is an interview with Joseph Smith, a product manager at a solar panel manufacturer.
Thanks for tuning in to Careers in Focus. Today we're talking with Joseph Smith. Welcome.
Thanks for inviting me.
So could you tell me what you do?
I work for a manufacturing company that makes photovoltaic modules, more commonly known as solar panels. My main role in the company is collaborating with an international organization called the IEC to develop standards for the industry.
How would you currently describe the state of the solar power industry in Japan?
Well, it has changed dramatically. When I first joined the industry, Japan was the largest manufacturer and the largest installer of solar panels in the world. Today, China holds both of those titles. It has really been the force driving the dramatic drop in the cost of solar energy over the past few years. One of the reasons for the shift was due to the growth of the German solar market at the turn of the century. As German demand for solar energy grew rapidly due to aggressive government incentive programs, the country turned to China for support with manufacturing, providing capital, technology, and experts. Prior to this, Japan had already developed their own manufacturing base and was selling product internationally. But as China's manufacturing capacity grew, costs came down and quality improved. Eventually, Japan could no longer compete, and many manufacturers either went out of business or scaled back to focus on the domestic market, where the average selling price was higher.
Interesting. Are there any challenges the industry faces in environmental terms?
Many companies are still using fossil fuels to produce their panels, but as costs continue to fall and manufacturers place more emphasis on reducing their carbon footprint, I'm seeing more companies commit to the use of renewable energy to run their factories. With that said, the energy payback, which is the number of years it takes to produce the energy used to make the product, is only about 1 to 4 years. With an assumed service life of 30 years and zero emissions during that time, solar energy is still much cleaner than energy produced from fossil fuels.
So do you think the solar power industry should be subsidized?
All industries, including fossil fuel-based industries, are subsidized based on market conditions and influence from lobbyists. The solar industry is unique in that average consumers can purchase solar panels and have a power plant installed directly on their homes. This means that subsidies are more widely distributed than those in other industries, increasing the likelihood that the benefit actually reaches the end user.
Do you foresee the world weaning itself off of fossil fuels in our lifetimes?
In the past, I think the idea was that renewable energy would replace fossil fuels only when the supply of fossil fuels ran out. However, the cost of renewable energy is dropping so dramatically that it is likely it will eventually surpass fossil fuels simply because it is the cheaper option. This year, one research organization reported that not only is renewable energy now cheaper than building a new coal or gas-fired power plant, it will soon be cheaper than using existing fossil fuel power plants. That is an extraordinary finding.
Well, Joseph, time has got the better of us. Thank you. That was very interesting.
My pleasure.
Questions. Number 26. What is one way that Joseph says the solar power industry has changed? Number 27. What is one thing that Joseph thinks will affect the popularity of renewable energy in the future?
Your time is up. Stop writing and wait quietly until the answer sheets have been collected.